My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC picks and DraftKings lineups run by professional fighters and MMA insiders. Every week, I join Nick Newell, professional fighter, professional model, and ESPN top 10 guest, along with Dan Kramer, UFC fighter, Bellator fighter, Ultimate Fighter alumni, and Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. And we break down every single fight, the betting odds, the DraftKings picks, and we set you up for success. So next up at UFC Fight Night, Edwards versus Muhammad, we have Gloria de Paula and Jinh Yu Frey. So this is another interesting matchup in the women's strawweight division. It's a weird division where nobody's amazing and everybody's pretty good with some experience. And we see that in all of these matchups with all of these records. And I don't even look at the odds when I break down these fights because any one of them can beat any one of them on any given day. So Dan, I'll actually go to you first on this one. I mean, what are your thoughts here? Jinh Yu Frey is crazy small and sort of coming up in weight for this. Do you think that's a factor? What do you think goes on here?
No, I believe I could be wrong, but I think she went up in weight for her last fight as well. And actually, when I watched that fight, I remember thinking, wow, she doesn't look that small for moving up a weight class. So I think she's probably in her right weight class now. She moved to Fortis MMA before her last fight. I think she wanted to get to, a better camp. So I think that generally that takes some time to pay off. So I think we'll see an even better version of her this fight. But the reality is she lost 2 in a row and 3 of her last 4. This is her third UFC fight. The first one was a loss against Kay Hansen on 6 days notice. So, okay, don't count that. But her last fight, she fought a really good Thai fighter. I forget the first name, but Luke Boonmi is her last name. And it was a tough matchup. I mean, she showed she has a really good left hand. She went for the clinch to get takedowns, but got roughed up with that Thai clinch, elbows and knees. She shot for a couple takedowns, but didn't get them. But she just got lit up in the clinch. The other girl was a pure Thai boxer, and the gap in skills in that department showed. So it was a tough fight for her. And I think the fight showed more about how good the other girl was, Lukumbi, in Thai boxing versus Frey looking bad. So I kind of like chalk that fight up as its own thing. It's just a tough matchup. So then when you look at Gloria de Paula, she's trains at Shoot to Box, good striker. Her last fight against Paula Macias on the Contender Series, she looked good as a striker, good right hand. She's got long, heavy punches, decent kicks. She got taken down, in the fight pretty easily, just kind of overextending her punches. But then she defended a couple shots in a row. So she looks like she's got an overall pretty solid skill set. Had some submissions she threw out there. So looks to be pretty tough. Her last loss was in 2019 against Isabella de Padua. Same thing again. She got taken down a couple times. They were bombing on each other. She was getting hit with haymakers. She was throwing haymakers back. So she looked, like a gamer in that fight, and she's improved a lot since then. But the reality is, in that fight, she was taken down in every round and kind of beat up on the ground. So it could be a hole in her game. All in all, I think this fight could end up being a slugfest. Both girls seemed very willing to trade. I mean, we saw it with Frey in the last fight where she was getting outclassed by a Thai boxer. And I think de Paula will try to avoid has always been trying to avoid takedowns. So I think I could see these two striking and slugging it out. If I had to go one way or the other, I think I'm going to go with the value pick here in Jinh Yu Frey. For $7,400, I may look at putting her in my lineup just in the hopes that this is an exciting fight. And to be honest, she can make it interesting if she's worked on her wrestling. If she adds that to the game plan, I think that the striking is somewhat of a coin flip. Could go either way. But the wrestling X factor of Yu Frey, if she's worked on it, could be a factor. So I think the odds are a little off on this one. I think it's a closer fight than what the odds say. So if I had to go one way or the other, I'd put my money on Yu Frey at the plus 150, and I may put her in my DraftKings lineup at $7,400, depending on where things net out.
Yeah, these fights are always interesting. I mentioned it earlier. I mean, you just don't know how a lot of these strawweight women's division fights are going to go. Nothing would be surprising. I hate touching them, so I don't have either one in my lineup, especially not Gloria de Paula at $8,800. We've talked about this before. $9,000, around $9,000 is like a guaranteed win, and you're hoping for a stoppage. Not, what is a closer fight than what these odds have you see. But I'm going to go with Gloria de Paula here. I think she should win. I think she's bigger. I think she's more technical everywhere, honestly. But I'm just not going to touch this fight. It's just, I don't trust anything about it. I'm not touching it with money. I'm not touching it in DraftKings. I'm just not going to touch it. I'll watch it and enjoy it. But it's just so, I'm so uncertain with what will actually happen, but I'm just going to lean on, the fact that Gloria is an actual prospect. The UFC is giving her a matchup. They're hoping she wins. She's bigger. I think she's more technically sound. So that's the direction I'm going. But Jacob, I'll let you sort of weigh in and make your pick here.
Yeah, I think we should transition. I should get two things. I have lock of the week, which is not this fight. I think I should have love of the week as well. We had Polyana, we had William Knight, we had Olberg, and I think this week it is Gloria de Paula. Polyana, you messed up. I followed Gloria on Instagram today, so if you're watching this, please answer my DM. $8,800, she's in my lineup. She is bouncy as a striker. She reminds me of like the old Conor McGregor, just on her toes, boom, boom. And when she gets in the pocket, incredible chin, and will throw in 3, 4, 5 punch combos. Pop, 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 pop. Not a lot of power, but I think she's going to score 1,000,000 points because she is better everywhere than Jin. The only thing that scares me about Jin is you mentioned she lost, 3 of her last 4 fights. So I think she's fighting for her UFC life here. And sometimes that can change people. But overall, I see DePaula as a much better striker. She was going to be my lock of the week if she wasn't such a big favorite. And I think she gets it done. She's in my lineup.
Well, all right. Well, cut and dry there. So Nick, I'll let you go. One thing Jacob mentioned was you think Jin Yu is fighting for her life and that could change things. I mean, you've never been in that position, Nick, but do you think that affects, I mean, how hyper aware is somebody of, if I lose this, I'm going home? And if they are aware of that in the fight, does it help them positively or negatively?
I think that's like such a weird thing because you could take it a lot of different ways. You could take it as, okay, I'm literally fighting for my career, and you're really conservative because you don't want to lose and you're fighting not to lose. Or you could say, you know what, like everyone's counting me out. I'm supposed to lose this fight anyway. Like, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to get after it. And I'm going to, I'm just going to bite down on my mouthpiece and throw. For me, this fight is tough because Gloria de Paula hasn't really fought the same level of competition as Jinh Yu Frey. Jinh Yu Frey beat Herika Taburko, who was the Invicta champ, one fight after she lost the title and then fought for the title. She lost. She seems to get to these levels where she fights the really elite and she loses. But Taburko is a big win because, I mean, MMA math doesn't really work like that, but Taburko beat Michelle Waterson for the title. So that's no slouch. That's a real fighter. That's a good win. And and she's had these other fights and she's inconsistent. And I feel like she plays into other people's games. You know, she can strike and she can grapple, but nothing enough to where it would be like, okay, that's where I have to take the fight. DePaula bites out on her mouthpiece. She'll throw tough and she's a good fighter. I mean, I would picture DePaula to win. I would favor her, but I don't know enough about her to really guarantee that. I guess if I had $100, I would bet on Yu Frey just because of that. And at the cost, I'm not touching her because I'm not 100% confident that she will win. Yu Frey has fought the tougher competition. She beat a really good fighter. But again, she's got more miles on her too.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think we all think it'll be a fun fight, but it will be interesting to see how this plays out.
Love of the week. Hashtag love of the week.
And Jacob's going to start firing off some DMs. So if you guys want to shout her out and at Jacob in those, feel free.
Has William Knight responded to you yet, Jacob?
No, Nick, he has not.
Damn.
I even tagged him in that
damn.
video. He didn't even like it.
Yeah, I'll send it to him.
Before you go, check out the description below. In there, we have links to our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, and more importantly, to our DraftKings League. Check out the league, join the league, participate in the contests, and as we get going and as you start winning, we're going to start handing out gift cards and participating and doing things like that. So check those out. Every week, there are drops on every fight card. So make sure you check out this channel and our social media on Saturday before the fights start so that you have our most updated lineups and picks.